Hey guys, it's mcfixit here. We're going to teach you how to make a really sweet disc die today. And this was on a misprint disc. You can kind of see it in the reflection there. It is an EMAC Truth double stamp, and so walk you through all the tools, the supplies, and the know-how on how you can make a really sweet looking disc like this yourself. Okay, the tools and supplies you're going to need. You're going to want a disc, white disc, always die the best. Having a premium plastic is also really good. Create your stencil, whatever you want it to be. Go ahead and cut it on a Cricut. I also have a way to be able to draw the lines on it, which is really helpful. You're going to need transfer paper. This is a new little device that I have, and I also have a laser that will help get me right on target, and so I'll show you how I do that. We're going to be using iDye Poly Black, so it's 16 ounces of water and 1 packet of dye. The dye comes in little packets like so. You just toss it in there, warm water, mix it around, use it many times. We might need something like Q-tips, acetone. Wear gloves when using acetone. We have some Dawn dish soap and water mixed together. We have a pan that is bigger than the disc. Do not reuse these pans for anything. These are old kitchen ones that I have. And a burner. This is a electric burner. Lots of towels. These are just cut up shirts. A lot of times I'll call them towels. So if I call them towels, that's the same thing. Scraper tool, you're going to want that because you're going to need to scrape all of the air bubbles out. You're going to need a couple different types of weeding tools. Picks of all different sorts work really well. Sharpie, you might need an X-Acto knife as well, and if there's anything else, I'll throw it in while I'm making the video. Let's go ahead and remove this beautiful stamp. First thing I like to do is go ahead and crack open the acetone bottle. And it does help to use brand new towels for this. You just put it on here, rub it around, and that acetone will eat through the original stamp on the disc. Move your towel around a little bit. If you can get blanks, some companies actually make blanks. Those are the absolute best for dyeing, because you can see this has a little bit of a blue hue to it, and it's going to be almost impossible to get all of that blue hue off, but we're going to try our best to get as much as possible. But that is one of the downsides to not having a blank disc, and you just don't have to do this step. Like I said, you're going to need lots of cut up shirts or towels. Some people think paper towels do scratch the disc. I've never really noticed that, but these are all giveaway disc. I don't sell these ones. So we do a youth league in the summer, and that's what this one's going to. So that looks pretty dang good right there. To stop the activation of the acetone, Dawn dish soap and water. Find a spot that you don't have acetone and go ahead, hit that up. Go ahead and move that off to the side. We need to weed. Weeding takes forever. Longest part of this whole process is weeding. But if you do a good job weeding, you normally do a good job with the disc die. I also put a halo effect around this. It's not on here, but you'll see it on here. We need to weed everything we want to be black. So go ahead and take your time and weed this. I will speed this up. Take your time. You may need to cut parts of it. Whatever you need to do, take your time, go slow, make it happen. Okay, I really like how that is, and so the next step is to go ahead and add your water and your 1 packet of dye. If you've already had it mix it up a little bit more, go ahead and throw it in your pan. And with this burner, I like to put on about 2.5 or 3 right over there. And we'll go ahead and start getting all of this lined up. It does get a little annoying, I know, but it's okay. It does beep because it's not perfectly level. We'll go ahead and pull this off. This is our transfer paper. And honestly, I used to draw lines on this, but now that I found out how to do it on my Cricut, I really don't even care that much. I just get more of a good solid fit on there. I'm just using that scraper tool. Get really down and in there. Go ahead and start peeling it. You just want to make sure all the letters, like the center of the O's and stuff like that, come up correctly. And I've used this transfer paper probably 10 to 12, maybe even more times, so eventually you do have to get new stuff. So you want to keep an eye on your hotbed as well, because one thing you don't want to do is get it to where it's boiling. You just want it to start smoking. So if it starts boiling, you do need to back it back down. Perfect. There should be no white left on this. That's a good sign. So once we get that nice and perfectly centered up, we'll go ahead and grab our disc. This is just a 3D print. You can find it on Thingsverse. Beautiful, beautiful helper for dyeing disc. Like maybe one of my favorite things. And I know this is off center for you, but just get it all perfectly lined up. And then just start pressing it down onto it. You can go ahead and turn that off, save your battery. So I like to just go ahead and kind of start peeling this back and onto the back side here. And for this, we're really not needing to do this step, but it's just something I've kind of always done. The reason I say you don't need to do it is because we have that halo effect going on the front side. So we are going to spend a lot of time getting all of these air bubbles out, but I just want to go ahead and make sure it's as decently pressed in as possible at this point. So when we do lift this up, it's going to go well. I'm not worried about the edges. I probably should be a little bit, but I'm not. Because here in just a second, I'm going to pull that off. And you can see we got something there, but I think that might have been on there before. Because everything on the Stormtrooper is looking really good. Nope, it is the R. So always take a look at your letters and everything else. Great. Go ahead and stick that back on your piece. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and actually just rip this off. I was just trying to get it out of the way, because I want that halo effect to go all the way to the edge. There are two things that were not at the beginning of the video that I should have had in there, and that is my heat gun and my little blowtorch. They were over on my other workbench. This is starting to smoke, so we'll go ahead and turn it off. I like to use a heat gun on setting 1. This will allow it to begin to really get this on here really, really well. Go ahead and take your hands and work on getting all of the air bubbles out. You can also use a scraper tool. Okay, you see this is not boiling, it is just smoking. I just pulled it off. It's been off for probably a minute or two now, but it was still sitting on top, which will keep it nice and warm. Butane torch just helps remove any air bubbles. We're gonna go ahead and put this thing down. I like to put it down at an angle. And I like to go anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Most of the time I do it at 10 and then I check it after that. So we'll be back in a jiffy. So we are right at that 10-minute mark. I'm gonna go ahead, get some towels ready. I kind of like to lift it out pretty quick. That looks pretty awesome right there. I'm gonna go ahead and set this back up here. I'm gonna do another disc guy today, so we'll just reuse that here in a minute. This is just some Dawn dish soap and water to kind of help stop it from continuing. And now is the moment of truth as we weed it. This is one of my favorite parts. It's very telling of how good you did and how much it bled or didn't bleed. We'll do one final little cleaning. And if you do have anything that is really stuck on there and sticky, denatured alcohol works really good. That does happen occasionally, but overall this thing turned out sweet. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the comments section below.